Hi, my name is full colon Bogdan hyphen Saris full colon Cuckoo, and today I'll be it's January the 6th and 2021, and I'll be trying to explain some of the symbolism that I've picked up on this video, which is some celebration speech of the 1 year anniversary from the opening of the United States Space Force, which was established in 2019. And what I've picked up on through throughout the video, both symbolistically from a geometry, if you like, way, and some of the speech that's being done, and from a standpoint of the average person, and then of what from a passe and symbolic subconscious standpoint is. So before we begin, this it's something that I could only describe as the Holy Lance. Okay, and that I find, even though we won't get into the story of Jesus, but most people know of it, and how attacking of nature, of extra predatory, above predatory, or is it sub predatory, something like that. Nature is to go on and stab someone once they've been crossed to the cross. So just that in and of itself is quite concerning when it comes to having that on what they reckon to be just of space exploration and safety, if you like, defense. Then within it, we see the four corner rule, which also appears in the NATO symbolism. Let's see if we can get some images here. As you can see, it's almost of the same shape in the middle there. Excuse me. And we've got the United States Space Force. You would think that they already have a branch like this. I mean, you'd think NASA, that's it. Right? Anyways, we'll let it roll. So a year of firsts, they reckon. And I say, what has there not been done before? He's swearing on the Bible that's been done before, and that actually, for those that know beyond beyond legal and moving into the lawful, that is actually unlawful to some degree, if you like, or it does not present what it should actually stand, what they pretend to be standing for, is in for trust. Okay, for they sign and swear instead of autographing and instead of swearing, actually doing proper contracts where they can be held accountable for their actions. And in terms of space, supposedly by now there have been many things launched in space. So them launching something in space, it's nothing new. In terms of the flags, we see the US flag. They're not showing the top of the flags, which that's important, but I think they do a bit later, where if there are items being placed on top of that, it represents that we are at war, and it's martial law, things like that. So more or less, whatever they say, it's that it has no standing, because what has standing is the things on top of the flags, which means it's war, which means there is no rules and regulations, and it's all fictition, if you like. Um, what is for real is that there's potential for people to actually lose their lives. And the music in the background is chilling just to begin with. We see this lady here wearing a dark uh, clothing, which means mourning, as in like when people are mourning for the dead. Um, we see them raising their hands up. Even that in symbolism, like, oh, did you raise your hand? Yeah, isn't like to harm someone. We see the eagle, which is eagle money, predator money. That is on many flags. Against all enemies, born and domestic. I bear true faith and allegiance to the same. So they're getting everyone to swear and everyone to raise their hand. I take this obligation freely. So even that in and of itself, how it creates cognitive dissonance, how um, they say not to raise your hand against your kids and things like that, but they're trying to get everyone to raise their hand against everyone. How that previous picture was, they were literally face to face, raising their hand against each other. Now that, excuse me with the snake noises, it's me vaping a little. Um, sorry about that. Uh, so we've got the eagle that's also on the um, uh, the current flag. Um, Not on the current flag, but they use it as their jurisdiction, and that's only got 3 spears there, but normally it has 13 spears and 1 hoof, I think they're called. Which that says that the predator money, being the eagle with the wings up, um, has hold of the corporations, if you like, or even 3 represents it's a tiny company, if you like. 13 makes it a big corporation. And then in the other hoof has the olive branch, which the olive branch was was a petition that was adopted by the Second Continental Congress on July the 5th, 1776. We won't go into a lot of detail into that, but is when um, the US started trying to become more independent, they've sent over a petition to England, to London, to try to get King George, I think it was the third, to accept them as independents. And it was rejected, and yeah, I don't think that ever really got resolved. I mean, the Crown will always try to have its jurisdiction over people that try to be free. And of course, a lot more over others that have no idea. And here is the actual eagle that I was talking about. That's actually got the 13 in there. And here is the Roman leaves, if you like, how the Caesars wear, which presents that, or should we say, represent that predatory money, if you like. So, kind of like we won't go into detail. We've also got the pentagrams. That a lot of people know of that and about it, so we won't go into any more detail of that. And the flag there is of the US Space Force, which by what it looks to me, it's nothing but that spear of what is it? The Holy Lance. Okay, we've gone into that. And the micro, like what I thought looks like, we'll see this picture more, but it almost looks like a microphone or like a headset that is wrapped around the planet, which is there to listen in like a microphone to the whole planet. A lot of pictures here we could go into. I'll quickly go into this one. So it says space power doctrine, right? So that is out there in plain sight. There's not even, I don't even think, other than saying it, what it's really saying is they're trying to bring about a doctrine of this quote unquote space age, and it might not even have anything to do with actual space travel other than using Signet, if you like, using all sorts of technology that travels through space and time without you having to go nowhere. So they've split. They're trying to say that they're splitting part of the Air Force to be of the Space Force now, which even that in and of itself is a lie, because they will go into it further down the track, being that not only do they can access a whole lot of other branches if they need to, but they can also do what Chief Plenipotentiary Judge Mark full colon Mark Kizon was saying, that being that they're doing privateering, so they can go on and hire people of the public or things of that nature, private companies, to do their bidding. So again, they've got multiple sectors. So it's all of the predatory, of the to divide and conquer, and beyond that, if we are to start depicting it, all of these, we see the predatory money again. We see a IV, no IV, a IX. So they're of the Crown Corporation. If it would have been a IV or something like that, it would have been of the Vatican. we've got the SS's. We've got a snaky, which could be of the doctors, of the administering of the poisons. And yeah, it would have helped if these were bigger. And then also we have here a left pointing or attacking or shooting to the top right, if you like. Then again, I seen there some sort of predator taking over the planet, almost like a Hydra-like with multiple heads. So again, even the that Mercy ship, um, it appears to be of the Salvation Army, which that is to salvage other people's estates. So they're not. They pretend to be aid, where they'll potentially take all the credit, right? Or should we say value? So it seems that they're branching into a lot of other areas as well, such as race cars and things of this nature. So that is the like the Five Eyes, but I see there's many others. So they've got multiple countries and alliances involved, um, while they're under the under their trying to get them all to be under this particular jurisdiction. And being how it was in the hexagon with the circle, so they're basically saying that they're locking the um, they're locking the planet down. While they're trying, so they're on one hand they're trying to say that they're trying to protect things and preserve things, but in fact they're choking the planet. And here there was evidence how they almost collided with some other space stations and things of this nature, which proves they're not fit for purpose. Meanwhile, they're trying to, everything's done to try and say that they're fit for purpose.
2-1-0 and liftoff.
So they've got the military involved, and as leader, there's some uh, lady in red. That's a lot of symbolism in and of itself. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with this video because it will end up being very, very long. I mean, we're only 3 minutes through, and I'm already at almost 20 minutes on my video. So you'd think it's about men and women going out in space. It just said it's about humans going out in space. So that we know that human is beast. So yeah. Stood up initial. Yeah. So they're doing digital engineering as if programming it's not that, and as if there's no more human engineering to be done. Maybe only the robots.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General J. Raymond, Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, Secretary of the Air Force Barbara Barrett, and the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence.
So even just that just them walking on stage, all the other ones other than Pence didn't really get applauded for. And they also stood up, just like in any court, just like at court. So they're all saying that they're following this jurisdiction. So it's not, even though it's a public service announcement type of thing, the whole thing's being conducted as if it's in one of their courts. So it's just another one of their courts. It's just another exercise.
Since the dawn of the space age, the United States has long understood that access to space
He's very
in space under rights.
what do you call it? Nervous and things of this nature, which is a high indication that he's lying. I'll skip through a little bit, but in summary, he tries to applaud everyone for contributing and things of this nature, as where in fact it's being brought to light, if you see through it, that they're all under jurisdiction, just how they all had to stand up, and they all had to not get applauded for only when Pence walked in, so he's the leader, and just things like that. Meanwhile, they try to say that everyone's there by being volunteered for it and things like that.
Free together. And looking back, I'm confident we will stand in awe of our efforts to ensure the United States Space Force.
He wouldn't be that nervous if he would actually be that confident. So there's a little bit more
The
of.
United States is always above. Happy first birthday, Semper Super.
So yeah, it's always about above and above and above, nothing on a level playing field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce our Secretary of the Air Force, Barbara Barrett. This has been a pretty easy job when you have the Secretary of the Air Force that cares so much about what you do and has made the number one priority of the Department of the Air Force the establishment of the Space Force. Ma'am, thank you for your passion and for your leadership.
Thank you, John Raymond. What a pleasure it is to be a part of a team headed by the leadership of John J. Raymond.
So supposedly this other guy, Jay Raymond, and I think she goes on to say that I don't think any of them are using their correct names. And I'm talking, using nicknames right up when you're delivering a speech and things like that. The whole thing's meant to be part of the Air Force and to be of high, what do you call it? Official, high officiality, if you like. Aka being very formal, not being very casual and throwing out your hey Ray, what's up? You know? But they seem to be fine with being very informal like that. Now, just in and of itself, if they're trying to say that women are equal, as we should be equal under the law, um, why can't she just be like a normal woman with long hair? Why is there always a trend? So what are they trying to say? That they have to cut their hair to be equal with us? I don't know. That's inequality of itself just there. But that's my opinion. And then we've got the red symbolism, aka lady in red. And um, yeah, it's always a push for a fake agenda, if you like, a fictitious agenda. If things would occur naturally, they would occur at a achievable rate, not of a fictitious rate, such as quickly changing leaders just to change the power and things like that.
Under the name of the United States Space Force. No one has been a better champion of that effort than our Vice President, Mike Pence. You know,
So that's fraudulent because we all know how people don't agree to a lot of the things that they do, and they always push back and have their own agendas. So that is losing in terms of doing your job. So just because they've all forgotten what their job is actually there to do, and they label themselves winners and champions, that doesn't stand up to the fact.
well, all but two of the United States military services were established when George Washington was president. Then, technology opened two new domains. Yesterday, we celebrated the first flight by Wilbur and Orville Wright, a flight that laid the cornerstone for the U.S. Air Force. And today, we celebrate the protection of space assets by the new.
So again, they're always with cornerstones and things like that because it's not on a level playing field. It's not may everyone be beneficiary of something. It's always a cornerstone to be beneficiary, while the rest of the quarters are suffering to prop it up.
U.S. Space Force. In its first year, you might have expected a Space Force to build a new headquarters leadership team, maybe to publish planning guidance of our astronauts and the space station. And for the first time in nearly a decade, the United States Space Force supported the launch of American astronauts from American soil on an American space capsule.
So all of the stuff that she's going into, it's almost evidence to question it if anything from the history of the United States has actually been true, such as the moon landing and things like that. Like they're all like, what is this? Are they coming out to try and say that none of it has happened before? Um, this is how they induce cognitive dissonance into uh, the citizens of the world, that a lot of people still have, especially the some of the older generation that hasn't come across a lot of knowledge, um, still believe in the moon landing and things like that.
So, why does this matter? Well, it matters because every day, almost every American uses space, often without knowing it.
So she's now getting into a very delicate subject, which is that uh, what we call outer space, being beyond the orbit of the planet, they actually, as the symbol on the flag is, not to mention the flag is black, meaning that they're doing privateering, or trying to be pirates, basically trying to hijack the planet. So if I'm not 100% sure, this is my presumption, that if a skull and bone uh, on a black flag means that they got jurisdiction over death, now they're trying to say that they've got jurisdiction over the whole planet, right? And trying to say that the cornerstone, the tip of their all-seeing eye pyramid, being the elites, are there to listen in, because this circle that is broken and one tip is thicker, it's exactly almost like a headset microphone around the planet, while the planet has got it's being corded up as if it's on in the eye view of some weapon, or say a radar detector, right? So it's all being watched, monitored, listened in by the cornerstone.
Space controls our water, our power, and our banking. Space powers our information, navigation, and communication systems. Whether you're an Eastern urbanite or a Midwestern farmer.
So they want to be the people in charge over any part of space, including, if not making sure that the people do not get out of the orbit.
Or a hiker in the high
And they
Sierras,
control the water, the air, and the land here on this planet
using space.
through space technology.
Therefore, be protected for all benevolent actors. Today we salute
And
the vision
them being the benevolent actors.
of the United States Space Force, because that.
So what better way to gaslight the mind control subjects than calling out that they're there to protect us against malevolent actors, bad actors, while they're conducting bad acting.
Vision and the leadership of the United States Space Force is defending the ultimate high ground for our nation. Semper Supra. And now let me introduce and invite you to welcome.
She's got the same slur and sleight of hand, if you like, that the previous guy had. So even that, from a psychological standpoint, we know that there's something that they know that they're doing wrong. So even that in and of itself, I'm trying to look at this from a standpoint as someone that doesn't know anything about symbolism and the hidden meaning of things, and how it would create cognitive dissonance into someone. They're trying to put their trust into this, and these people are being very, quote unquote, funny, if you like, not very confident, and being nervous.
Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Miller.
Now, Secretary Miller is going to try to play the good cop and try to sort of win people over with a bit of he just tries to be a little bit funny and relate to everyone and not be so official.
It's not an ethics violation here, but I'm ready for some Space Force stocks whenever they come out. Make sure they.
And that's I'm not going to comment much on Trump, but some of the things that he wins people over with are that he is more confident and more professional and more formal, if you like, having spent years and years and years as a formal businessman, more or less. I mean, in business the way it is, they're not as formal as in courts and things of that nature, or as formal as royals would like to be, and things of this nature. But the whole world, I think, feels the need to have proper authority in place. Hence why slowly the informalities and things of this nature are fading away. And leaders, this is just my presumption, that the people will give more value to leaders that are more formal and proper, especially presenting fact-based things, over all the statutory legislation that they try to put forward that gives everyone massive headaches.
Get routed. Just saying. What an incredible day. I'm humbled and beyond words to be able to be part of this. Secretary Barrett, Vice Chairman Hyten.
So yeah, he just tries to, he reveals a couple of bombshells as well. Um, in summary, he's doing gaslighting as well. So they'll be perpetrating onto the planet and things like that, and breaking people's rights and live life claims, if you like, doing things against that, and they constantly try to say that they're there to protect that and to conserve that and things of this nature, where in fact they're doing quite the opposite, being quite open about the fact that they're using things like signals intelligence, and so they're essentially contracting with the world to spy on everyone. So they're the ultimate spy eyes, without much legitimate reason to do so. And they're trying to promote it as a good thing, and as something that helps the planet, as where in fact is actually the opposite, especially as people such as David Wynn Miller explained how Tesla coils and things like that are to be used for the benefit of mankind, not to use it beyond his beyond what it was designed to be used. So they're the ultimate. They're the ultimate. This is my opinion. They're the ultimate abusers of technology.
Family, welcome. What a day. What an historic day. Many other leaders here today, all around here. Thank you. Thank you for your vision, vital role you played in standing up to Space Force. Sounds cliche at this point, following these great leaders.
So he's given another bombshell there. So it's cliche. So it's hypocritical. So it's exactly the opposite of they say one thing and do the other.
To President Trump.
But do they? Because if you pass a syntax set,
President Pence as well. They spearheaded this
shows exactly what it is.
Sixth branch of the United States Armed Forces 1 year ago today. You know, when I was a kid, I told you, when somebody would go, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I grew up in the 70s. What did you say? I want to be an astronaut. My son's 19. He grew up in the 2000s. When I'd ask him, you know, "Hey, what do you want to be when you?"
So if we find out that astronauts are fake, they're actors, then essentially what he's saying is that he always wanted to become an actor. Okay, and now we'll go on to a little bit further.
70 years. I love that. What the heck? What a great description. You know,
How informal is that to be in front of so many people and to say, "Oh, what the heck," right? So he's obviously doing a hack.
talk about the historic legacy going back, the half Raymond. You know, I know you're just nodding your head. That's not, but that's really so telling.
So the historical legacy, not the inheritance, right? So it's not like it's been passed on as it should, etc., etc. No, someone set out a plan as if I'd set out an evil plan for my sons to spy on other families and ruin their lives and take them over, right? Things of that nature.
And so remarkable. And first, you know, service in 70 years. You know, it really marked an important step forward.
Yeah, there you go. And he makes it. I think he's one of the most blatant ones that he really gets symbolism and things, and he's just putting on a show, quite confidently.
In deterring the threats posed by our strategic competitors, ones that extend beyond traditional warfighting domains, it was necessary to step in this area.
Previously, he said remarkable, which means no mark, but then he goes on to say about something that marks something. Right, so if it's remarkable, there's no marks there. There's nothing.
It was a necessary step in this area of great power competition that we're in now, marked by revisionist powers, fielding new weapons.
So again and again, competition. These people try to say that they're there to maybe even do pre-crime, right? So to keep everyone at peace and etc., etc., detect things before they happen and things. But they're straight up saying competition and things like that. So they can't work. They're saying that they can't work with other people. It's always a competition in things, right?
That put our satellites and space-based systems at risk. And it was a recognition of the importance of securing freedom.
So they're incompetent in cutting deals, as Trump would say, or the actual to contract properly, and they have to fight, right?
Operation in what is now a highly contested environment, space. True to the motto of Semper Supra, our men and women in uniform have already taken the Space Force to new heights in an incredibly short time.
Let's see what Semper Supra is then. So Supra is incomparable, unique, or something of the like. Aha, so always above, semper supra. So they're trying to say, and this really is their motto at this Space Force, the Space Cadets. um, they're trying to be very elitist. They are the opposite of people that believe in living in a level playing field. For them, such thing does not exist because they are all about supremacy.
The service's first space power doctrine earlier this year and establishing
That's what their
space
doctrine is all about.
to commissioning 86 graduates. 86 graduates came out of the Air Force Academy this year and launching their careers into the Space Force. The Secretary talked about launching the service's first satellite into orbit as well. And just last week, the first group of directly.
So, yeah, well, I want to see these 86 people actually going out into space. Can you document that? Or are they just another 86 actors? Plenty out there. They can recruit them whenever and however they like, right?
Enlisted space professionals celebrated their graduation from basic military training.
Yeah, now he goes on to say how humble he is to. So, in other words, all the acting that they do, all the fakery that they do, um, it's all rewarded by celebrations and things of that nature, right?
Absolute joys I've had in this job
Yeah.
is signing commissioning recommendations, moving officers from the United States Air Force to the Space Force. Again, that was just a hump.
So he's real happy to get people from protecting the air and the land to now doing signal intelligence spying onto citizens.
Humbling event.
Anyways, video is almost getting to an hour, so I'm gonna have to skip a bit. And to the judges, if I was to actually stop the video all the time and not quite passe it, but really get into everything that they go through, it would probably be something like a 4 or 5 hour video.
None of this would have happened without you just leaning in on this and just pushing so hard.
So yeah, it goes on to say how he reckons the vice president's been pushing so hard, but it's all a lie because it's all a massive agenda, and it's like they're all just on a train, really, type of thing, and it sounds like some people have tried to pull him off the train, or other people trying to derail their train, and they've made sure that the train just kept on going for a whole year so far.
Most people don't see this regularly. I see it all the time. The leadership of the vice president, his care, his compassion.
All right, now let's get into what he's got to say.
The floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you all for being here today. To Acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller, to the Secretary of the Air Force Barbara Barrett, to General John Hyten, General J. Raymond, General James Dickinson, General David Thompson and General David Alden. To tell you, I am the second biggest champion of the Space Force in this administration. So as we begin, allow me to bring greetings.
So from what I can see, he's got a higher skill at doing this acting than what the rest have. So he's a lot more confident into what he says. Or shall we say, from another standpoint, there probably isn't much repercussion to what he says, as in, like, he can't really be held accountable. So from what we can see of this agenda, the higher you go up, the less accountability there
And
is.
first anniversary congratulations from a champion of everyone who wears the uniform of the United States and the founder of the United States Space Force. I bring greetings and congratulations from the 45th President of the United States, President Donald Trump. We just left the Oval Office with the President, and from the very first moment that he conceived of the idea of creating a new branch of our armed forces dedicated to our security in space, he has been an enthusiast, and I can testify, as the acting secretary and the secretary of the Air Force can attest, that enthusiasm has only grown in the last year. And he's proud of each and every one of you, as I.
So, yeah, it appears that Donald Trump is advocate of this. Now, unless we've got more supporting evidence into proving this, I'm not going to comment further, but it must be that it's all, especially being part of the force of US. This is just being the Space Force. Yeah, we could almost attribute the same things to any other force. But what me personally, what I'm concerned about is the use of the Tesla coils for the wrong purposes.
But we're grateful to the contributions of all of you in this room, and to the speakers who have preceded me at this podium, bringing us to the fruition of this first year, but more importantly, bringing us to this day a year ago.
What fruition? Last time we checked, the planet is under lockdown. And we haven't seen any wonderful spacecraft being, hey, come on board, we'll show you what this is all about.
Sunday, it saw the creation of the first new branch of our armed forces in more than 70 years.
They've destructed any proper order of operations that there's ever been, and now I would presume that all the soldiers and beyond are very concerned and very confused.
And there are members of Congress who are with us today who I remember in those critical moments in the legislative process who were absolutely indispensable. And I'd like you to join me in thanking Congressman Doug Lamborn for your great leadership on behalf of our Space Force. And the first person ever to mention to me that we ought to restart the National Space Council, even before.
So to restart is no start. So that's what that passe means. So are they going to start anything ever?
Before I had this job, he is one of the greatest champions of American leadership in space, the Congress of the United States. Congressman.
One thing that we know is in place is a form of Cold War through the symbolism that constantly induces cognitive dissonance and things of this nature. So yeah, it would be hard for anyone to be able to move forward with these sort of things.
Babbitt, thank you. outstanding and seminal leadership.
So he spends quite a bit of time, as it seems, trying to thank everyone, while in fact it's nothing more than all of them applauding him. So has he applauded for anyone? No. Or I think he applauded for himself while everyone was applauding for him when his name was called.
I also want to take a moment to express my appreciation to two members of Congress who are not here, but who have been and remain champions and emblematic of the bipartisan support that this new branch of our armed forces enjoys across the Congress of the United States. Join me in thanking.
So bipartisan, that's like, so that in and of itself is just so hypocritical and etc. etc. As if like that in and of itself explains how quarters of the playing field that would normally, under normal circumstances, would not be having interaction, they now have an interaction by force, pretty much. So that he's trying to say that that's normal and it's all good, is where it's like they're forcing, I don't know, the two opposites to work together somehow. So they're doing experiments, they're doing nonsense, they're doing fraud.
Congressman Adam Smith, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee.
So he keeps going on and on and on for things like 10 minutes
There are several people to thank.
to get everyone to applaud for him.
There's a man who I consider to be a giant in the realm of American leadership in space. He's a former commander of the Air Force Space Command.
So if he's a giant, then he's not a man. Then he's some sort of beast. So there you go. Yeah.
I first met him at Offutt Air Force Base when he was leading our strategic command forces there.
So they only know each other as the officers or whatever job they're doing within these branches. None of them really know. I've noticed this, even like how you've got work functions and things. Some people just can never really be themselves. Like some people might even be better to never be met in their private, so they're never in their private capacity.
He actually comes from a family that's been involved in American space enterprise throughout to our great nation. And thank you for your enthusiastic participation in this first year of the launch of the United States space.
So it's a nation, is not a country, is.
Yesterday marked the birthday of flight. History records that it was 117 years ago.
So they reckon that is a massive lie. The birthday of flight. People been flying for a long, long while.
Two sons of a heartland preacher, one of whom was born in Indiana. From the early days of this administration, from almost the first.
So they were laughing about being born in Indiana, which is, the word is about Indians, right? So they're the people of the land, as the rest of the people should be as well, if they look after the land. But they're laughing at that. So they're all saying that they're not of the land. They're of the fictitious world, of the what are they of? Can you, this is me asking them, can you tell us what are yous of the?
Moment that the president and I spoke about space when we were campaigning for these jobs. He had a dual focus of renewing American leadership in human space exploration, but also ensuring that America remained as dominant in space as we are in.
So yeah, they want jobs and they want to be dominant. So they don't want to be real men and women, which that is a lot of responsibility and it goes beyond a job. It's a life. Like, they want jobs and they want to dominate.
And again,
So are they dead, and do they want to dominate the living? 'Cause I'm starting to get that drift.
efforts faltered. But I would submit to you that it is a tribute to the leadership of our Commander-in-Chief, a tribute to the extraordinary military leadership
So he's trying to get us to submit to all of that. Not a good idea.
here today, that this time, with bipartisan support, in just 1.5 years, the United States Space Force was born.
So he's trying to say that he has made a corporation born. Now that's a bit out there, isn't it?
And since that historic moment, the United States Space Force has only grown stronger by the day. And that means that America has grown more secure by the day. After the Space Force...
So he's saying that we're getting more and more locked down as they're advancing with their launching of the satellites into space or things of that nature.
became law, the president's first decision was who would lead it. And the president and I get the sense in the room, there is broad agreement that he got that decision right too. He chose a man.
I think, in my opinion, they're lying about all of that, and he's just like whoever is there. That doesn't matter if it's Trump or whoever else. Is just the train they've set in motion. Who the actors are doesn't really matter.
He chose a man who you've heard from these podiums already is considered to be the Hap Arnold of our time.
Oh,
Raymond, his wonderful wife Molly, and his proud son Gary, for all of their commitment to America.
so he's just constantly asking for applaud. Some more applaud.
3,600 officers and enlisted airmen have already started to fill out the paperwork to transfer into the Space Force.
So to transfer into the space, so they're trying to transform the red, like pretty much all of the. So what I can gather from that, real quick, is that for them this is a first space into trying to transform the military altogether, all the forces. So what they're trying to do is maybe turn everyone into androids. So maybe they don't want any more men and women into the military and into the armed forces. Now they slowly want to robotize everyone or something like that.
General Raymond tells us that we anticipate on our current trajectory the Space Force will have nearly 6,000 space professionals serving all across the globe in just a short period of time. In fact, today the Space Force got its newest and perhaps most famous member, a man who is actually in space right now at the International Space Station. General Raymond took care of the paperwork, and I think it might actually be the first in...
So he's the vice president of the United States, and he's just addressed the public that these people are taking care of the paperwork. So no authorization, no real documents. They're just taking care of the paperwork.
Orbit transfer in military history, Colonel Michael Hopkins, NASA astronaut and member member of the United States.
So they're doing some of the biggest frauds, transferring some of the biggest assets in the military and the forces into their realm to play with however they want.
Space Force. Goodness. You know, heroes like him and like all of you are going to inspire generations of Americans. In fact,
And now he keeps flip flopping it. It's not us. He's trying to say that we are you.
Secretary Barbara Barrett and I witnessed some of those young Americans stepping forward in Colorado Springs. We both had the opportunity to address the 62nd graduation of the United States Air Force Academy. When I was there, they told me in a typical year, about 20 cadets choose to go into space operations. This year, I was there when 86 cadets stood up and took the oath as officers.
So they're trying to say that only 20 soldiers put themselves forward to normally to it's a massive risk to do these sorts of things if they are what they say that it is, such as going and doing some space travel and things of that nature out into the orbit. And now, because of the doctrine that they showed that they're pushing through, the propaganda, now they've managed to more than quadruple their intake of. So now they've got more than 4 times the subjects to use.
In the United States Space Force. Florida to announce the first 2 Space Force.
As we say, normally, how many young men and women would be keen to do space travel and things like that? I think more than half of them, right? But due to all the fraud and all the insecurity when it comes to government, you get no one really. They have to do brainwashing and propaganda and doctrine to get people to put themselves forward for positions like this.
The space race began in the 1950s and it continues today.
So it's all a race. It's not about being on a level playing field and moving forward at a safe and comfortable speed. No, it's a race. It's a race. It's a rat race.
And in President Donald Trump, we have a commander-in-chief who's understood clearly that space is a war-fighting domain.
So it's not about we haven't even gone out of our solar system yet, supposedly, and but they're already ready to start wars there. So people have had enough of fighting. So he's trying to say that, this we should fact check within their fictition. Incorrectly saying we should check their fictition to see if it adds up at least a little bit. Such as if Donald Trump actually is behind this, and has he pulled the troops out of Iraq and things like that, because now they want to send them out into space and or get them on the drones and space technology even more, right? Like, why have the troops there when you can do stuff, carry out war remotely, right?
That we invest the resources and the personnel and the technology to defend our nation and defend our values in the out.
So he's trying to defend, but what if they're offending, right? What if maybe what they're actually doing, in fact, is offending the United States through acting as the United States and pissing off the Arabs, right? Wouldn't that be easy? And then call the Arabs that they're the bad guys, and or call the Americans they're the bad guys, right? Or just say both of them they're bad. Next minute you're all up in space pressing buttons to do stuff down here, right?
In fact, the United States, as you've heard already, faces emerging threats in space from countries like China and Russia. And those threats are only growing.
How is that when we've seen on their alliance they've already cut deals with all of them, right? So they're just outright lying, pretty much. They're trying to protect the leaders, the supposed leaders. That's what it's all about. It's all about getting everyone to submit as you to destroy themselves, so that some of the elites so that the fiefdoms get away with stuff.
You are that strength. So today we celebrate leadership from our president. The great bipartisan support will be known as guardians.
So they're trying to claim supremacy over the planet. So we're not all equal under the law and on a level playing field. He's always trying to be above. So as we can see, the flag of the United States is got the corner. The corner has got the box over it, which that renders it null and void as the real flag. And funny how they're filming this, but they're not showing the top of the flags, because I'm sure if they were to move the frame up a bit, we would be able to spot some sort of arm devices, if you like, some weapons or something, maybe a pike, maybe something of the like, which it's symbolism to say that it is under martial law and we are at war.
Soldiers, sailors, airmen, marines, and guardians will be defending our nation for generations to come. So with that announcement,
So, in other words, with the Guardian narrative there, he's trying to say that we should always be ruled by people such as coroners or things like that, trying to say that we are all vessels lost at sea, and that we should always have someone overseeing our estate. In other words, never be allowed to own anything, including yourself and things of that nature. The biggest fraud that you could perpetrate onto an entire planet.
let me just say thank you again. I want to thank the members of Congress who are with us today. Thank you for the honor of your presence, but more importantly, thank you. Thank you for your leadership in bringing us to this moment 1 year ago.
And even this thing again with, so when they've perpetrated the language a while back, they created you and we. And we represents we the people, or if you like, the bank value, etc., etc. If it's you the customer, you the patient, okay, you that they can perpetrate on. Okay, so that's the type of language symbolism he's playing there.
And the support that you've continued to provide. This is the seat of launch of this new branch of our armed forces. And on behalf of your Commander-in-Chief, let me urge each and every one of you Guardians to keep pushing. Keep pushing.
So he's promoting war, okay, bad contracts if you like. If they would be of such capacity as they almost claim to do, I think there's something they can never really claim. Then they would be capable of doing contracts where they're not coming in collision with other space stations and things of this nature, which they're openly saying they have.
You will serve with confidence and gratitude of the American people. And I'm also convinced that those of you that will serve in the United States Space Force in this generation and generations to come will also go with the prayers of millions of Americans.
So what is he saying there? That to go with the prayers, like as in disappear, as in like fictitious, more and more things of this dualistic nature, which I'm sure he's been prepped for a very long while.
We will claim that ancient verse that promises that if you rise on the wings of the dawn, if you settle on the far side of the sea, even if you go up to the heavens, that there his hand will guide you, and his right hand will hold you fast. That then will be our prayer for our guardians in this generation and for generations to come. So happy.
So he's planning this in the long run, and he's saying that things like religion and other things will always hold you in bondage. That's what he's trying to say, that there'll always be someone overseeing things, and to not even get any hope that will ever be free, because he's there to make sure, and he's trying to push keep pushing that for everyone else under him to push that these things remain like this for as long as possible. How he says for generations to come, so that may we never be able to contract fairly and have the law of the pen and not the law of the club that they are so dearly implementing and forcing onto everyone, such as using all these technologies, because all they are, it's just a fancier club. So they are still of the law of the club, which is to club people over the head with, because now they're using signals intelligence and what have you, or that they're using drones or satellite technology, which is out in space. It's all just a fancier club, and they're there to club you over the head. They're not there to send you a letter so that you send a letter back and you come to some sort of a solution with everyone. No.
Happy birthday to the United States Space Force. God bless our guardians.
So he's saying happy birthday because, but that's the thing. They said, so that they reckon America is birthed, which is not a fact. And they're trying to say that their corporation is born. So they're trying to say they're there for real, and we the people are not.
God bless all the
Very
members of our armed forces.
a massive
God bless
lie.
America. Semper Super.
So that was my wee take on this video. it could have gone on. I could have gone on for a lot longer. I've probably only covered half of it or something like that. It's quite long. This video is already gone on to what is it? An hour and 20 minutes. So all the best to the judges, all the very best, and I hope to hear from everyone such as Chief Mark and as well as Chief Hugh and the rest of the guys from America. I really enjoyed the last meeting, and I look forward to have some more meetings. All the best, and thank you so much for the opportunity.